I don't think we're too stupid, but I tell you what, we cannot operate these videos or the internet. Right there is our ham radio repeater we have. Our own repeater on Goat Mountain. Both my husband and I are ham radio operators. My husband has his top license. I have the bottom because I'm too busy to learn. Actually, an 8-year-old could pass it. Enjoy the sunset. This is looking south. This Highway 224 down below. Right there is Estacada. The hills of Estacada right there. Those houses. Anyway, I was telling you about how we waited for my grandparents to send the money so my mom could drop me off back in California. She did. Left me there for a few years. And that's when she came back when I was about 3.5, and she took me back to Florida, thinking my dad was going to be a father finally. Be nice. My mom had several miscarriages in between. And so she didn't get pregnant until I was 6.5 years old. She had my sister when I was almost 7. But on California, I enjoyed being on the dairy. I remember the fire ants, the cows, the smell of manure. I actually like the smell of manure. Cow manure, that is. My grandpa used to say, smells like money. My grandfather was the hardest working man. I don't think there's anybody that worked harder than my grandpa and his 3 sons. There's Junior. He also owned a dairy in Chino. I lived with them for a while in the summer, so I learned how to milk cows, feed 20 calves at 4 a.m. with my cousins, Donnie and Stephen, who are both dead. My cousins are much younger. They died early age. Their mom died when the boys were babies. So sad. So most of my cousins are dead, and my aunts, uncles. My mom's oldest brother, Maxie, he owned in Bishop, the Outdoorsman, and him and his wife owned a lot of hotels. Max Hernandez. And then Ronnie, Maxie, Raymond, Junior, all very wealthy men, hardworking. Unlike Bob, my dad. And my mom worked nights so Bob could go off with his brothers like he usually did, playing cards. They loved to play cards. I remember them playing cards, getting in fights, cussing. Oh my gosh, I remember the cussing going on. And then that table would be bang. And then my grandpa Frank, he'd ask me to get him a cup of coffee. He wanted me to put the sugar in first. So I had to put half a cup of sugar, fill the cup up with halfway with sugar, and then add coffee. I was 6 years old, and I knew how to make a pot of coffee, and I used to serve the guys coffee all night while my mom was working. And the guys would be yelling all night, banging the tables, playing card games. Dick, Art, Bob, Chet, Jerry, George, Donna, Mary, Nancy, Judy. I forget one. 17 of them, but actually there was 12 because 5 were adopted out. Mary, Judy, Nancy. Anyway, that was my dad's. Oh, and Donna, my Aunt Donna, who was an hour younger, 2 hours younger. But I was older than her. But we played for hours. Once we moved back to California. But I was in Florida, entertaining myself as always. I call myself a feral child. Unsupervised, free-range feral child. Because my mom would sleep days. My dad was gone. He would leave me alone at night in the trailer while my mom was off work. But he was just a couple of blocks down the road. So I guess he thought it was all right. Nobody would kidnap me. I was too damn ugly. So one day I was just bored, out of my gall, out of my wits' end. And my mom had got a little parakeet. I remember it was up on the counter next to the stove. So I wanted to pet the parakeet, so I opened the cage, and it's flying around the cage. And my hand just swishing around trying to catch that little bird. I must have spent a half an hour. There were feathers flying all over the place. I had that bird just cornered, and finally cornered that little bird. And I grabbed it, and it bit me hard. I mean, it just kept biting. It drew blood. I thought, oh my gosh, but I didn't want to let it go because it would fly away. And then I'd get in trouble because I was inside the trailer, and I wasn't supposed to have it out of the cage. So I hung on to it really tight, as tight as I could. And it kept biting me and biting me. Still have a scar. And then the bird quieted down. He got real quiet. And then its head was flopping around. I knew something was wrong. I didn't know anything about death, except I used to get crawdads from this creek and chop them up. Yeah, I killed animals when I was little, but I'm not a serial killer. I think my dad is. That's a story I'll tell you later. I've had 2 people, plus the FBI, confirm that my dad murdered some women. So, he hated women. And he would beat me, pull my hair, kick me. Here I was, 4 and 5 years old. He just beat me to a pulp. But I had my grandmother there, and she would protect me. Always protecting me, telling me, Bob, I'm going to knock your GD head off. Bugsy, what are you doing outside? That's my rag doll. He's not allowed to be outside. Buggers! Bugs! Come on, you little brat. Come on. I didn't know what to do with my parakeet. Its head, it wasn't moving. Its head was flopping around like a rag doll. I'd shake it. Its head would go flop, 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 flop. Shake it back. Its head would fall back. Shake it forward. His head. I thought, oh, geez. Am I going to get my butt beat? My hair pulled. For sure. My parents were famous for slapping my face and pulling my hair. So I knew lying was bad. For some reason, I always had a heart for God. I was a praying girl. I used to pray. I remember praying so hard, begging God to help me out of my loneliness. I was so lonely, being left alone. And now my parakeet was dead. So there was a swing set playground right next to our house. And of course, this was Florida. So there wasn't hard, rocky dirt like there is in Oregon. And I figured, well, if I bury it in the sand, my mom will never see it. Kitty, 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 kitty. Bugsy, no, you can't get the rabbits. He thinks he's going to get a rabbit. I hope he doesn't jump the fence. We're changing our fence over to be a 7-foot chain link. So, I buried that parakeet right underneath where I put my feet, where you swing, you put your foot down and pump your legs and swing higher and higher and higher. And I avoided that piece of, that mound of sand underneath my feet. Just carefully, I put my feet on each side of it. I'd push up and swing high. And then my mom came out. Cheryl? Yeah? Cheryl Ray. Oh, geez. The middle name. Yikes. I was in deep doo-doo. Where's your bird? I don't know. Swing, 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 carefully putting my legs on each mound. Swing. Where's that bird? Where's your bird? I don't know, Mama. My mom looked at my feet straddling the mound of sand. She got a scoop, pushed the sand aside. There was my dead bird. Oh my gosh, I was in so much trouble. So then I got angry. I was 4 years old. Actually, I didn't know anything. I tried to murder my mom. Actually, I didn't try to murder her. But that's my story, but I shouldn't stick to this one. Because I turned all the burners on. We had that little trailer stove that takes matches in order to get the flame lit. Wasn't those automatic stoves. I mean, we're talking 1955. I was born in 52, so 55, 56, little travel trailer. So, bored me, I turned on all the little knobs on the stove. I got to feeling kind of sick. Kind of dizzy. Really dizzy. Kind of sleepy. Oh my gosh. And it stank. And by the grace of God, my grandmother, Evelyn, never came to our house. She did that one day, and she knocked on the door. Had my grandma not been there, I'm sure it was by divine guidance. She knocked on the door. My mom had passed out, sleep, and I was overcome by the noxious gas fumes. My grandmother opened the door, turned off the gas, woke my mom up, and got me outside. We were just minutes away from death. That's probably what caused my brain damage. Made me stupid. Gave me ADD, attention deficit. Both my sisters are smart. One has a PhD, the other is a psychologist. Anyway, that's my story, and I am sticking to it.